Hey everyone, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to our new subscribers, and I want to welcome our new subscriber from Indonesia. And thanks for tuning in and following the Hope for Survival preparedness journey. Well, this is my 5th try at getting this video together and getting it out, between camera issues with camera 1 and camera 2 and software issues on my computer. I wasn't able to get the videos previously shot off to my laptop for editing and uploading to YouTube, so we're going to go with the GoPro and see if we can make this work this time. So in my last video I talked about food preparedness, and in this video I want to talk about the urgency of getting your food resources purchased or grown and starting to put them back. There's an urgency to this because there's more and more urgency to this topic coming from folks that I highly respect, who are podcasters. David Devine at Adapt 2030 and Michael Yon. And they have been sounding the alarm on this. I've been talking about food preparedness for probably 5+ years on here, building a food plan and the different types of food resources that you can put together to build a food plan to ensure you have short, medium, and long-term food preps available to you and your family. There's a lot of factors that are contributing to why red flags are going up on the availability of food. We're already enduring higher prices over the last 5 years. You could probably call the dollar store the $3 store now. And in grocery stores, the prices continue going up, and the quality of what you're buying and consuming is going down. And when you look at this from a historical perspective, you may remember back as far as the early 1980s with the annual rallies that John Mellencamp and Willie Nelson used to do, called Farm Aid. And it was the bringing to people's attention how farmers were being crushed by legislation and high cost, and it was pricing them out and legislating them out of the ability to grow food. And if you go back to World War II, the end of World War II, roughly 50% of all Americans had some form of a garden growing their food, or food to add to what they could get a hold of or afford. Well, today, if you look at the number of farms that were available in America at the end of World War II compared to today, there's roughly 1%, below 1% of those farms are available. And a lot of that is due to legislation, it's due to pricing. Can't afford the equipment to farm to compete at the market in prices, and natural disasters and man-made disasters with legislation that's impacting this vital profession. And when you look at Europe, since the year 2000, roughly 5.5 million farms that were there in 2019 are no longer available. And over the last years, since 2020, you may have watched the large caravans of tractors going to protest in their capitals, and on and on and on. And as long as you can get a payday and go to a grocery store and buy what you need, you kind of make all of these notices of the war against food. It's somewhere else. It's not here in America. You have what you need, so life is good. But what you're not giving a lot of thought to is what you're buying and consuming and putting in your body. Okay? Um, what is being put on those foods? And even at the farmer's market, you can buy what they call organic food, but realistically, you don't know how those foods are being grown. Unless you grow it yourself, you pretty much don't know what you're putting in your body. So, uh, just in the news in the last 24 hours, there's a blockade on the strait in Iran, Hormuz, and this is going to even impact the vital resources that need to go out around the world to the large farms who were questioning whether or not they were going to plant crops because they don't have fertilizers. And the key point here is putting fertilizers on gardens. A lot of the fertilizers are poison, and they grow crops and they go to market and they go around the world. So currently in 2026, they're selling and we're consuming food products that were grown in 2025. And the question is, how much will be grown in 2026 for market and consumption in 2027? And if you look at the global market, the number of superpower countries that are now having to go and compete and bid on food availability is getting tougher and tougher. So, over the last few days, I've talked to some highly educated, wealthy people about the current situation in the world. And they brought it up. I just listened, and I would ask leading questions to let them control the conversation. And they're recognizing all these things. But when you ask the question, so what are you doing to prepare yourself? They're doing nothing. Okay? They're still trusting what they're buying out of the markets. Okay? Even when they talk about the number of diseases and the obesity in America and how unhealthy the diets are, they still allow their money to control their destination because they feel like it's always available to them. And I even shared stories to them about my time in Eastern Europe after the Soviet collapse, and how where we have 5, 6, 7 brands of green beans or potatoes or peas or corn when we go to the supermarket. Back in the days in the Eastern Bloc countries, they have one brand of green beans and one brand of potatoes and one brand of peas and corn. And it was a limited amount that was available on the shelves, and people would line up for half a mile or more standing in line to get into the stores to buy limited one can of whatever item it is. They may want one can of corn. Well, how long can you feed your family? So was a repetitive process that a father or mother would have to do daily or every 2 days to go get food to feed their families. And what I've tried to educate people on was building a food plan while food's available to you, either straight from the farm or cattle, pork, chicken, eggs, what you can grow yourself. Trying to get folks to consider learning how to grow. It's not as easy as buying a pack of seeds and planting it and it grows. Okay, you may have bad soil, you may have climate issues, temperature issues, it may be a rainy season, a drought. All right, there's no guarantee that when you plant it, you're going to be able to grow it and have food consumption at that time. So I went back about 4 years ago in videos that I put out, and I'm going to include it in this video again. I often hear folks talk about how they can't afford to put food back, and I'm going to show you there are ways that you can get past the excuse of I can't prepare and put food away because I don't have the money. There are ways around that. You just have to be smart about it and do some planning and make some efforts. All right. I don't have room to store food that I put back. Well, there's ways around that as well. You can take and stack boxes and stack buckets and put a tablecloth over it and use it as a window table or an end table in your living room or den. You got to be creative. All right, we're past the point in the world today where you can live on excuses. You've got to suck it up and put on your big girl panties and cut some cost in areas of things that are not must have or needs. They're wants. Extra cell phones, okay, extra channels on your TV. Pick up a second job, making some extra money, and dedicate that money to putting food back. All right, because you always have to have food and you have to have clean water. And no matter what's going on in the world today, the wars, socioeconomic, wars between Christians and non-Christians, racial division, political division, you still have to have food and water. All right, and none of these other problems are going to give a crap if you have a meal to sit down to at least one time a day. That is on you. All right, and if you're a mother or father with children, it's your responsibility to do this planning to ensure that you can feed your family. Okay, so let's get into the video coming up on ways to build a food plan. All right, let's go.
Hey fellow patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival. I'm Bravo Echo, and in this podcast video, I'd like to talk to you about food preparedness. I'm using the same format that I use in my book, Hope for Survival, how preparing food, water, shelter, and security can save your life. You can obtain a copy of this book on my website at www.hopeforsurvival.com, or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com. And in my book, I talk about a 4-tiered food planning process using 4 different types of food. This process will fit in everyone's budget. Some foods are more expensive than others. I'm often told by folks going through training that they're payday to payday living on a tight budget, and I took that into consideration when I was putting this plan together. So let me talk to you briefly what this is about. So with all the events that are taking place in the world today, you can look around and see the growing national debt. instability, socioeconomic issues, a lot of hate amongst people. But what if you're in a car wreck and you lose your job for several months? What if you simply lose your job? What if you become ill? This food plan will work for all occasions, all hazardous type conditions, man-made, natural, technological, or just simply life in general. You could be planning on retiring in 6 months to a year, and once you retire, until you get into a comfortable routine with your adjusted income, you could put food back now that will help you offset your grocery bill until you get comfortable with your retirement income. So the food plan that I put together, that I use for myself and my family, I look at different availabilities of types of food. Some of them I can buy in store, others it takes a little effort on my part, but all together with the available resources, time, and effort, this will fit into anyone's lifestyle. So I look at starting, if you have absolutely no food put back or stored, and you live grocery trip to grocery trip, maybe you have 2 in your household, maybe you have 4, maybe you have 7 or 8, maybe with children, or maybe you have a family member living with you, or a parent. So you can make this fit your lifestyle, whether you're in an apartment or you're living in a rural area. That's all up to you to adjust. So you can see here, I've got different types of store-bought canned food. You can find really good deals and buy case lot sales, or you can buy a little bit at a time and put it back. You can buy multiple cases. You can order cases, even pallets through Walmart. You can check at Aldi's and other grocery type box stores, Sam's Club, Costco. You can get all the items that you need. One of the things you need to take into consideration is diet. Is there anyone that requires a special diet, maybe gluten-free diet? And also that you buy and store foods that your family will like, okay? Now keep in mind, this isn't setting you up for what you're used to getting on a cruise, okay? These are foods that are affordable, that will help get you through any type of event where you can't get food or your income may not allow you to get food, okay? A little flexibility and adjusting on your part, and you can get through this. So you have different types of canned foods. A lot of folks say, well, if the canned food expires, what do I do with it? If the can's not damaged and it's not dented, it's not leaking, you keep it, okay? I made some vegetable soup with canned beef earlier this week, and the cans were dated 2016 and 2017. Corn, green beans, store-bought canned potatoes, and peas, things of that nature, okay? Protein, you can buy at Sam's Club and Costco. They're in a tube of like 4 or 5 cans for like $10. You can get white chicken breast, you can get salmon, you can get turkey. For a little more cost, you can order through preparedness stores, canned beef, canned chicken, canned turkey, things of that nature. Keep in mind, when you buy meats and poultry that are canned, they're going to be high in sodium. So keep that in mind. Potted meat, Vienna sausage, hillbilly steak, treat, Spam, fried. It's great. It's great on sandwiches, and it's also great with some vegetables. Remember, you're not on a cruise, so these are foods that will help put some protein in your body when you combine these other types of foods. The second part of our food plan is Miss Lucy and I, we like to can using a canner. We use a process. This right here, this is some canned beef roast. We buy the beef just as it's butchered. We bring it home and we immediately can it. Beef roast, beef tips, burger, things of that nature. We also can lots of chicken. We like chicken. It's healthy for you. Here is venison, cubed deer. So if you're a hunter, why do we pressure can, and not just put it in our freezer? One of the reasons is because we just enjoy having it already cooked. So if we come home and it's late, we don't have a lot of time to prep dinner, it's already cooked. All we have to do is warm it, and it's already ready. We're away from our home at times for periods of a week, couple weeks. If something happened and our freezer went out, we would lose all of that investment. So it's already canned and we don't have to worry about it, okay? Green beans here. This is ground beef already seasoned with taco meat. Down here you have some potatoes and carrots that are canned. We can beets and all types of vegetables. Okay, so in our 7 to 2 week period, use a combination of your store-bought canned food and what you have, and add a little protein in it. These items here, they will last longer, but you can take away from it. We let these sit on the shelf more so, and we used our store-bought canned tuna, canned salmon, canned chicken, and things of that nature. But you can rotate it to fit how it works for you. Another stage that we use in our food plan, so we have two here, store-bought and pressure canned. We buy dry foods, pastas like spaghetti, macaroni. We buy cornmeal mix, sugar, flour, beans, navy beans, mixed beans, pinto beans. I take them, I buy Mylar bags. You can pick them up through Carolina Readiness Supply Store in North Carolina on their website, or you can order them from Amazon if you wish. These are quart bags here. I use pint bags, quart bags. Make sure you have oxygen absorbers or oxidizers to put the right size inside of your bags, and it will help keep your product dry. So I put dry foods in my Mylar bag. I use a heat source such as an iron, or you can invest in a heat crimper and close the lids and seal them up. You can see here. And then once I have these, I make an inventory list, which I'll show you in a minute, and I pack them in 5-gallon buckets, which I will show you. Another option is you can put dry foods in canning jars like this, or if you open one of these and you're not going to use it all, you can take this. Once your bag is open and it's been used, you're probably going to not be able to reuse it. Take what's left over and put it into a jar and use it your next time around. These are sprouts. There's all different types of sprouts. These are great for home, and they're also good for backpacking to put in your ready bag or your bug out bag. This here is a sprout container that you can grow them in. There's different methods you can grow sprouts in. Over here, you have MREs. I have MREs. I eat them a lot. 20 years in the military. They're not bad. I keep them at my home. I do not use them in my backpack because of size and weight. So I try in my bug out bag, 3-day bag, I try to use foods that are ready. Pretty much just add water and maybe heat. or I can use the packets of tuna or Vienna sausages and things of that nature, add it in there with some sprouts. It all depends upon what kind of diet that you're wanting to have. Other options are the small packets of Mountain House. Here you can see backpack pantry. There's all different types. You'll have to try them. Don't just buy them and put them on the shelf. I would recommend that you have a meal at least one time a month to see how your body is going to react to having this type of processed dehydrated food in your system. Also, how you're going to react to the sodium. Drink lots of water before and lots of water after you have one of these meals. Drinks. Kids love hot chocolate. You can put hot water inside this bag, shake it up real good. This is great for if you're outside with your grandkids around a pit fire at night to have hot chocolate. The grandkids also love. This is pizza. And of course, coffee. You gotta have coffee. And you can get some really good deals on different types. This is Franklin's 100% medium roast Colombian. If you're in the field, that's great when it's cold out to end your evening and also to start your morning. Everything you have, you need to make sure that you can get a hold of seeds. You want heirloom seeds, and if you can get them in number 10 cans, look at the quantity and types of seeds that are in here. This here is 13 favorite varieties and will produce over 2,300 pounds of produce. I strongly encourage you to consider having enough seeds and plan 2 garden cycles. Okay, you may have never gardened before, you may have never grown anything, and it may not turn out well. That you can get fresh vegetables to have daily during the growing season, and also to can for the winter. However, you may develop a soil problem, you may have a drought, you may have a cool spell, and you may have a rainy season that ruins your vegetables. So always plan to have enough food to cover you to where that growing season is going to augment your food supply, to where you're not totally dependent upon what's coming out of that garden. Use it as a plus. Long-term storage, 20 to 25 years. There's different brands as well. This is the Augustin banana chips. You can get eggs. You can get about any type of dehydrated. This is made by Thrive. This is creamy wheat cereal. And this here is a Mountain House brand of scrambled eggs. I stocked up a lot on eggs, potatoes, flours, salts, sugars, dehydrated fruits, dehydrated white milk, dehydrated chocolate milk. It's more of a treat, especially if you have kids around, than anything. So one of the things I want to point out is everyone deserves the right to have food to eat, okay? And even though we prepare to take care of our family, there's also a realization in our country there are folks that simply can't run out and fill a trailer full of food and bring it home and store it to survive for 6 months, 3 months, and beyond. I built my food plan on a 30-day, then a 90-day, then a 6-month, and then I went to 1 year. And as I added items and tiered it, I started adding protein to where I could cover enough protein throughout the weeks and the months, and then build upon that to make sure I was covered. Another important thing is you need to have an inventory. You need to inventory all of your store-bought canned items, protein, meats, poultry, You also need to inventory all of your pressure canned vegetables and meats that you have, and also all of your dehydrated foods, as well as your long-term food storage, to know how much you have. How can you properly plan and know how long of a period you can go for if you don't have an inventory? Okay? Those of us that have been around doing this for a while, we can pretty much look at someone's inventory, and we can give a good guesstimate of how many months or years they have in supplies. Okay? So one of the things I want to point out was recently at a rally in Waynesville, North Carolina, I was talking to a couple of patriots, and we were talking about a food plan. And one of the points made was shopping on a budget. So what I want to show you is, basically, I know you can't see it, but here's a receipt for $33, okay? $33. And in this $33, I have roughly 1 month of food. Sounds crazy? All right. In addition to $5 for the bucket and about $2 for the lid, these right here, what I have is a 5-gallon bucket. I do an inventory. I tape it on the side. It tells me exactly what's in here. Don't put it on the lid, because if you have buckets and you stack them, then you got to move them all to find out what's in it. So why wouldn't I put all of my beans in one and my oatmeal in one and so forth? Because I build grab buckets. So basically, in this bucket here, what you see laying out here, I've already filled this bucket here. Okay? So I can grab this bucket here, and for probably a family of 2 to 4, this is roughly 7 to 10 days, maybe more, depending how much you eat, how much energy you put out during the day, and how many calories you're consuming, okay, and the age of the individuals. So in this bucket here, I have 2 16 ounces of macaroni, 1 18 ounce of Uncle Ben's whole wheat rice, 1 16 ounce navy beans, 2 16 ounce oatmeal, 1 16 ounce yellow cornmeal, 1 16 ounce pancake mix, 1 18 ounce pasta, yolk free, 1 18 ounce bag of spaghetti noodles pasta, 1 6 pounds of pinto beans, and 1 16 ounce packet of lentils. Okay? Lots of carbs, right? During a crisis, and if you're burning energy, carbs are not going to be necessarily bad for you, but you're going to augment these items here with your pressure canned or your store-bought proteins. Okay? These are going to get you through to where instead of having to run and find food in a store somewhere and possibly going out into hazardous conditions, you can just go to a safe place in your home, maybe a cellar, and you can grab one of these buckets here. Okay? This bucket here weighs about 20 pounds, roughly, right? So on my $33, that I spent at the dollar store, great place to shop for preparedness food. I spent $33, and I got anywhere from 20 to 30 days worth of supplies that all I got to do is add water to them. Now, you're going to want, as you can, to backfill with some protein. Again, okay? Chicken, tuna, beef, things of that nature. That will help you out. All right? So, again, if you want more information, You can email me again at preparedness101@protonmail.com. You can go to the website at hopeforsurvival.com. You're on the YouTube page now. There's numerous videos here on YouTube from Hope for Survival on canning chicken, planning security, risk analysis, driving security, bugging in, bugging out, and so on. Okay? So make yourself at home. Subscribe to the page so you'll know when I put out new YouTube videos. I try to not flood it. Time is also not always available to do so. If you go to the webpage for Hope for Survival, if you want to get on my mailing list, send me an email again at preparedness101@protonmail.com. Facebook, you can also link in at Hope for Survival is my page. Okay? All right. So I hope that this has offered you some other thoughts on food planning. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can do it pretty much for $1 or so a day. You just have to put a little effort and thought into it. And remember, it's not always about want. Oftentimes we have to slow down and invest in the things that we need. Okay? There's a lot of different preparedness items. You can spend thousands of dollars. Security, weapons, ammunition, all different kinds of expensive things. But you have to have food and you have to have water. All right? A lot of folks focus on their weapons and their ammunition when in a grid down type environment they might need their weapons and ammunition maybe 10% of the time. The bulk of their effort is going to be right here. Having food, fixing food, finding food, planning for the future to grow more food, where are they going to get food? And for those who didn't prepare, they're going to be needing and wanting food. And you need to not only plan your food plan and put it together, but also, if you can, spread it out some, so that if someone breaks into your home looking for food, if they find a little bit of it, they don't find all of it and leave you high and dry. Okay?
Okay, so now that you see different ways that you can use things you may pick up at the market and things that you may can, or things that you may grow, or dry foods and putting them back in Mylar bags and buckets, those are ways that you can do it. But it all comes down to you and how much motivation you have to get off the system and depend on yourself. You may have, like many folks that I know that I've talked to recently, you have the money that you can hide behind to go buy what you want and when you want it. Okay? A food plan and water plan is an insurance policy or to your survival. All right? And you go work 40, 50, 60 hours a week for whatever pay you get. You may have a second job to get extra pay, to pay your health insurance and home owners and car insurance, and to feed your animals and cats and dogs and fish and birds and rabbits and whatever it is you have as pets. But your insurance policy to survive is one that's the least talking about, because we assume it's always going to be there. And if you look at how things around the world are transpiring right now, and you add in the number of natural disasters that are occurring that are wiping out food crops all over the world, it comes down to you and how motivated you are to take care of yourself. All right? And just like the folks that I was talking to and I talk to all the time, they know everything that's going on in the world. And then when you say, well, what are you doing about it? And they look at me like I'm crazy. Okay? it's a conspiracy that there's not going to be enough food. Well, if you want to keep on believing that, you can call it a conspiracy. But when you have a food plan and you've put back food, it's not a conspiracy because you have taken the steps and being responsible to ensure that you have the ability to survive with food and water. And I can't tell you how many times I've said and feel like a broken record that you can monitor what goes on in the world and around you, but the thing that matters most is right in your 5 mile radius. Okay? And it's like a picture that I witnessed last week that showed a grandmother in World War II standing in the kitchen cooking. And it says something to the effect that grandma had her own food supply and her community around her was her logistical support, meaning the people around her where she could barter and trade like in the old days at the local markets where they may grow food and grandma or mom was a seamstress and she would barter and trade something that she grew or made food wise for 10 buttons to make a shirt or a coat. All right. You need to get into that mindset that money is not going to be the cure all, have all. All right. You're going to have or learn to have skills to provide for yourself and ensure you have the things that you must have. All right. So, if you like this video, please hit like. If you have not subscribed, consider doing so. Share with others. Try to wake people up. Remember, all those people you know, family and friends, they may know there's a problem going on, but if they're not putting food back, they know that you are, and they're going to be the ones that are lined up on your porch when they're hungry. So give that some thought. How are you going to deal with it? But most of all, always have hope. The more prepared you get, the more you feel grounded, and you have less worries in this area, and it is a comforting feeling. So I promise you, there are places around the world that's far worse than where we are today, but we're on a fast track of becoming one of those nations. So give that some thought. And don't forget to count your blessings, because we are blessed people. Bravo Echo out. Thank you for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. If you are new to Hope for Survival, you can check out our books at our webpage. Book 1, which is Hope for Survival, Getting You Prepared for Disasters, and Book 2, Hope for Survival, The Mindset, are both available for order on the website. We also offer the Hope for Survival football stick, which is a memory stick set up as a digital filing cabinet with files already loaded on there for you to digitally copy items such as deeds, auto transcript for ownership, wills, living wills, loans, banking information, items that if your home burned down or you had some form of a disaster, you could have all your important papers already digitally filed on this stick. All you do is simply drag the digital file into the appropriate preset folder so that you'll have it in the event of a disaster. You have to flee your home in a hurry, or also if you're away from home and you need critical information that's personal. If you have your memory stick with you, you can put it in your computer and pull that information up wherever you may be. Again, you can find these items to order at our website, https://www.hopeforsurvival.com. or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, and I will try to help you out. Again, thanks for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. Hope to see you again.